Welcome. My name is Tracy Cook, and this is the podcast series Victim to Victory. This series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans, just like our upcoming guest, that have seen hope and risen above those adversities to become victorious, that now go on to support, empower, and inspire others to do the same. So please subscribe and comment and take a look in the show notes for the Launch Brand and Market podcast course. Today we have an upcoming guest. She is amazing. She is inspiring and she's changing the world. She is a real estate investor and she talks a lot about sexual health as well. Our friend Ruby McDonald has a powerful story that she's about to share with us today. Welcome to Victim to Victory.
Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. And I know we've spoken many times before. We've been friends for quite a while. And I know how heart-centered you are and how you give all of yourself and possibly wasn't always like this. So I'm really interested, Ruby. Please, where does your story start?
I would want to say about a year and a half ago, um, I lost my mom. She had been going through dementia for about 4 years, and I had actually been taking care of her since I was 16. And she is my grandmother who raised and adopted me. So there's quite a difference of a generational age gap there. So at 53, she took me home from the hospital. And then in return, when I turned 16, I ended up becoming her caregiver as well, as she was going through a lot of health issues like quad bypass and things like that. And so I was doing everything I could to make her proud. And I was in the health and wellness industry, massage therapist for over 20 years. And when she passed, I kind of didn't know who I was supposed to be anymore, because I knew who I was supposed to be for her. And I thought that was who I was supposed to be for me. But it wasn't until I lost her until I found myself.
Mm, mm. And that so much happens as well. I mean, that's a big undertaking at 16 years of age to become a caregiver. And there was a lot of sacrifices along the way as well, was there?
Yes. I had a couple free ride scholarships to very prestigious colleges and universities, and I gave them up, and I never told her. And I went to the community college here. It was like 2 miles from my house, so I could stay and help take care of her.
Mm. And that's a huge undertaking as well. And you're there, you're doing it out of love, Ruby. And at what point did you think this isn't for me, or this is for me, or this is my gift to my mum? What were the internal challenges with that as well along that journey?
I actually think it took not only her passing, but the COVID crisis that we had in the US shut down a lot of what we were able to do. Florida was shut down, and as a massage therapist and health and wellness practitioner, you couldn't work. And then when we were able to open, she was in assisted living memory care. So what if I was working on a person and then I picked COVID up? I could wipe out an entire memory wing full of people. And then I realized that was not safe. I could not continue doing what I was doing with good conscience, where I could wipe out a ton of people. And I started trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do with my life now? And I think it was kind of like God's timing and plan. I wound up going to this large Christian entrepreneurial event called Life Surge, only because my best friend wanted to go. She was going through a divorce, and she's like, "Oh, Tim Tebow speaking. He's so cute. Let's go." And she's like, "Let's do a girls trip." And I'm like, "Okay, I have no idea what I'm going to learn there, but I wanted her to like get out and enjoy herself." So I was like, "All right, we're going to go. Let's see what I'm going to learn." And I tell you, when God has a message for you, it doesn't matter where you think it's going to come from, but it hit me so hard at that convention where, and I talk about Tim Tebow, he said, "There's nothing more tragic in this world than being successful in all the wrong things." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, designer brand clothes, not that I'm into that stuff at all, but like what we look at as success, unless we're helping other people and showing God's love in the community, for my faith, I'm like, what am I doing on this earth? And so that's when this huge light bulb hit, that it's not about, just making my mom proud, or, what is it that I'm supposed, what making her happy or making myself happy, but what does God want me to be doing? And then, they started talking about real estate investment. And there was this guy, James Smith, and I was like, oh my gosh, his personality, my personality, like, it was so horrible. I was like, is he done yet? But then the more he spoke, I couldn't quit listening. And I was like, because what he said was making sense, to the point I stalked him at the convention after lunch to talk with him. And we talked for over 30 minutes. And it was just this huge light bulb. And it was really scary because I know nothing about real estate, nothing about investing. I came from a health and wellness field. But God was just like, hey, I want you to take this leap of faith. Even though you're scared, I want you to do it. I just felt it in my soul. And I talked to my husband about it, and I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And then, we got great mentors. No matter what you do, it's so important to have mentors. Pips Path is my mentor. And it has been so life-changing when you hear God, you feel what you're supposed to be doing, even though it's terrifying, and you just take that leap of faith and do it. And you just hold on for the ride. Because it's been a year and 2 months now, and our lives have completely changed. We've been able to help families get into homes in great neighborhoods and great houses where they had no idea where they were going to go 60 days from then. The housing market's been crazy where they've been renting for 8 years, and all of a sudden their landlord's like, hey, I'm going to sell the house. You have 60 days to find a new place to live. Like, what are people going to do? These are people, the kids have grown up and had their birthdays, Christmases, their whole lives have grown up there. And then I realized I don't have children, but I know that if you have a stable environment for a child and not having to move around every couple of years, they do so much better socially and in school. So to provide that security and to know that's such a win-win situation for everyone, it's just been life-changing for us, the families we've been able to help.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. And I did see some things as well where you're helping some underprivileged people with houses as well. Was that right?
Yes. So we've been doing single family homes for families to get in. And then our next step of growth is doing that same model, but with nonprofit groups in their underserved population. So as they're growing, or maybe doing social housing for our areas or their underserved population of medically homeless veterans, at-risk pregnant women that are escaping, some really serious situations, we're able to combine with that and partner up with those nonprofit groups to be able to help provide their housing for their people, because they're like, hey, we have this great vision, we don't know how to make it happen. And I love that I get to step in with my husband and I, and we get to provide those solutions for them, and then their underserved population gets it to be in a safe environment.
What an absolutely critical and essential thing, because as we know, there's the global housing crisis, and for you to be able to step in with your skills and your servant heart and to be able to deliver those kind of resources and solutions more than anything for people that are really in need and people that are wanting to really get that security going and base themselves somewhere as well. That's just such a service within its own. And let's talk a little bit about your chapter in the Victim to Victory book as well. What can we expect to see without letting away too much, because we want people to read your chapter? What kind of things can we expect to take away from your chapter in the book?
That sometimes one of your greatest losses you experience in life can be one of the greatest turning points to find yourself. That not every tragedy stays a tragedy, that it's what breaks you down to help you build yourself back up, even when you didn't realize you needed it.
I think that's it. We don't realize what we need until hindsight sometimes as well. And it's hard to pivot when we can't see, the road in front of us as well. And how did you find the writing experience? Was it therapeutic as well?
Surprisingly, when I had this idea for the chapter, I was like, I'm going to talk about this. And then when I started those first couple sentences, it took me to a completely different part of my life and journey that I didn't realize needed to come out. And when it came out, I looked at it, I'm like, no, this is what it was supposed to be about. Because in my brain, I had one thing. And then when it started just pouring out of my soul, I realized it was a completely different story that needed to be told that I didn't even realize I needed to tell. So it was very therapeutic for me and very healing. And it allowed me to have permission for myself, that I don't have to live for other people to make them proud. I can live for myself and what God wants me to be doing. And I'll still make them proud by being true to who I need to be and what I need to be doing for my life.
That's such an important message as well. And you're doing so many things. You're just such a beautiful person. Please connect with Ruby. She is literally changing and saving lives. She's empowering, she's inspirational, and she will help you in any way that she can. And it's great to see her pouring self-love into herself as well, because we got to put our own oxygen masks on before we can help anybody else as well. And she's just full of heart. I want to ask you, Ruby, what kind of message would you like to leave the audience on today?
Again, with that, wanting to help other people, you'll get everything in life that you want, creating win-win situations, helping other people. And there's so much more you can do if you do it, even though you're scared. Being brave doesn't mean you're not scared when you take that leap of faith. It means you're scared, but you take the leap of faith anyway. So, I mean, if there's something in there that's been nagging on you for a long time and you're like, oh, should I not? But you feel it in your soul, pray about it. But, don't be afraid of that answer you're going to get to do it. Do it afraid, do it anyway.
Do it afraid and do it anyway. We need to print that on a t-shirt. Thank you very much, Ruby. You are so appreciated. Thank you for being brave to share your story. Sorry for the loss of your mum and things like that as well. Our stories are a gift to us, and you're so appreciated here. Please check out the Victim to Victory book with Ruby McDonald, and also we'll be sharing where to connect with her. So if you need any kind of housing assistance in the US, Ruby is your girl. And if you want to know more about health and wellness, Ruby can direct you there as well. So you can find the Victim to Victory podcast on YouTube, Apple and Spotify. And if you got value from today, which I know you did, please subscribe and comment. And don't forget to check out the show notes for the Launch Brand and Market podcast course. Ruby McDonald, you've been an absolute pleasure. You're a world changer, and you have gone from victim to victory to visionary. Thank you very much for what you do. And let me leave you with a message of wear your story like a superhero cape and not an anchor. See you on the next episode.